Hey guys, alright, it's time for the weekly update. So what I'm going to do on this video is in the patio area here and down in the garden, I'm just going to do like a quick panorama and swing through and just kind of show you where things have grown. Everything's growing. Everything is growing in height and we have flowers on them and all the pollinators are visiting those, so I know I'm going to have fruit and have vegetables coming soon. And really, all we've been doing is pretty much gathering the same crops right now. So that's what we call green beans down here in the south. So blue lakes and contenders. I've been gathering those pretty much every other day and able to, use them in meals. Squash has been a constant. Zucchini, my yellowneck squash is doing a lot better than my zucchini is. Zucchini's kind of taking a little while, but it always has for me. Let's see, we have peppers coming, but we haven't eaten any. They're not yet ready yet. Still doing lettuce. Still have kale going. I'm gathering up carrots as I thin them out, so the kids are eating those. A lot of what I'm gathering right now, the kids are eating fresh. Like, I don't even get, the other day I gathered green beans, and before I knew it, I went into the kitchen to get them off the counter, and they had already eaten them all raw. But I like a lot of my beans and peas and stuff raw anyway, and a lot of my vegetables. To me, they taste better than when they're cooked, but I do like to cook them. The hubby likes them cooked. So we're just getting that. Let's see, as far as fruit, blackberries. We had some blackberries come in. The mulberries are done. Strawberries, still getting some strawberries. That's the same thing about every other day. I'm gathering about 6 or 7. Kids eat those up. But that was the whole point in this top garden anyway, in the patio, was they could come out here and do fresh eating. They can pick it off the vine and just eat it raw, and it's fine. So it's functioning the way I wanted it to, so that's awesome. The main garden down the bottom, that's really for, us storing for the rest of the year. And this up here is just pretty much for the summer, fresh gathering, us eating now, and for them to come out and eat. So that's working out great. All right, so we have had a big project this week. So that's what took up most of my time. So we are still working on the 3rd day, and I'm going to show you that. Okay, so this project is pretty epic, and you're just going to have to wait for the video on that. So I'm not going to go past that. If you want details on it and to really see what it's about, you're going to have to wait on that video. I'm also going to do a question and answer session at the end of the video, because I've had lots of questions over the past 2 weeks, and I figure some of them have been the same question. And I figure if more than one person's asking, that probably more than one person's like, I wonder. So it might answer some of your questions about our homestead, us, and what we're doing. And so wait till the end, and maybe you'll learn something that you've had a question about. Okay, so I'm fixing to run through a quick tour. I'll stop on stuff that's changed or just kind of show you what's going on. And then my porch is messy. And at first I was like, I'll wait till everything gets cleaned up. But then I thought, no, this is real life. This is what we're doing. And, sometimes your porch is messy, and it's okay. So I want to show you that we're real people and that life happens. And so if you see stuff around, it's because we're working. Okay, so we're going to start here on Instagram and Facebook. I did a video on succession planting. And so here we have our first grouping of beans. And this is what I've been mainly gathering on right now. It's over here. And then here is our second grouping of beans. And you can see they're producing really well. So I'll be gathering off of those. And what that means is, like, over here, this group was planted first. So therefore, they're harvested first. Then you plant a second group about 2-3 weeks after you plant these, so that you have a continuous harvest. And then I even have a fourth group I have a third group that's over here that's planted, and then a fourth group that is along different areas. And so I'm using as much space as I can. You can see this is the cherry tomato. If you remember the first time you watched, they were way down here. That cherry tomato was. Now it's all the way up here. We have flowers. So here up, look, I even got my first, if I can find it on my finger, where'd I go? Oh, there we go. I have my first little cherry coming, and here's the flowers, and I'm just going to I tap them like this. Tap, tap, tap. Show them some love. Get them fertilized. And then in my bottom, I have my green beans going. Okay, so green beans are good. They're nitrogen food. They put nitrogen back into the soil when you plant them. So they are great companion planters for lots of plants. So why not? You have that space. You put them along here, and then you're going to have beans and tomatoes. All right. So these are more tomatoes that I'm putting out. That's, again, that succession. Like I had that one group. Now I have, then I had a second group. This is my third group. And zucchini's doing good. Petering out on the lettuce and kale, carrots. I'm going to go around this way for that. So that carpet's up because we're working. Oh, there's my Japanese beetles. Look at that. That's what we're plagued with right now, Japanese beetles. So, cowpeas doing really good. They're going up. Clematis is recovering. You see I got a flower on it finally. And my fourth set of beans there with my kale. I up-potted. I got a bigger pot, guys. I was doing good. And my wren over there, yeah. And then she's built a nest up there. She's in there feeding her babies. And look. So the loofah gourd is doing what I wanted it to do. It's cooperating. Those are doing good. We had to move this bed back. So this bed had to be pushed against the wall because of the gutter there was just pouring into it when it rained too hard. And it was messing up the whole end. So now that we pushed it back and I've kind of watched it, and I've watched it while it rains, it doesn't get hit with the water. So this is going to be lettuce next. Plants, bee balm. Nothing's changed, but it was still getting squash. Look at that big sucker. I get him today. He's pretty big. Look at that. Wow. More squash in there. Got them hanging down here. Like I said, my beans are doing good. See that? So this is stuff you can do on your porch, guys. So don't tell me you don't have any room to garden. You got room. This bed is going to seed. I'm letting it do its thing. Then all that stuff's going to come out. And we're going to replant there. So this is my third set of beans. They're starting to produce flowers for the first time now this week. So by the time that second planting gets done, this will be the third planting. It'll get ready. Still gathering bits of lettuce off of this. I'm hoping to get seed off of this one, which is why I'm letting it just go. And then carrots. The carrots are doing good. If you saw that TikTok video, I went through the carrots. All my stuff is moved. This bed is moved out of the way, and this, of course, is moved out of the way so that we can work on that project over there. We got 2 cucumbers off of this plant yesterday. I think Carl pulled them yesterday. We got more coming. So little bitty cucumbers, and it's gone crazy, and it may actually go on top of the roof of the quail cage, possibly. All right, my beans are not, so far, I'm not going to be replanting those up here next year because they're just not doing what I wanted them to. They're spreading out, but they're not grabbing a hold to the perigola like I thought they would. So, but they have flowers, like they're going to produce. We're going to get food off of them. That's not the problem. They're just not going to cover like I thought they were. So, there's the carrots. So that is a quick tour of what's going on here. This area is kind of messy right now because it's going through transitions. So this was lettuce I'm hoping to get seed off of as well. So I've kept a couple of them. That way if one of them doesn't do it, maybe the other one will. These are carrots. I'm waiting on them to get ready. And once I pull all the carrots, then I'm going to plant peppers up in this one. So that's definitely a pepper bed. And then this one's transitioning. And I pulled soil out. I'm going to amend it with new soil. And that is going to be a tomato or pepper bed as well. You can see I up-potted my tomatoes. Waiting on them. Got to up-pot my poor watermelons. They're just ready. These are all the herbs up at the top. They're doing great. And I got a cool little tropical plant. I saved him. It was like a $15 plant, $20 plant. And I got it for like $4. So it says they get really big. So I have to figure out where I'm going to put it out in the yard because it can't stay up here. Alright, and then we'll go down. We got some work going on. See my shadow. Okay, the herb bed is a-going. Pumpkins showing up. Things are starting to sprout. Gotta clean out my bird bath. Mike keeps messing it up. Okay, last time I talked about the Japanese beetles and you saw me getting them off the tree. Here are the traps that we used. Okay, and they are awesome. We bought new ones. Let's see. We've used them for about 3 years. We used our traps that we had for 2 years, and this year we had to replace them. And as you can see, they all fall on the bottom. This has got like a scent that attracts them, and then they get here, and then they fall in there. So that traps them. And we still go around and hand pick them. That's what you saw in that coffee can thing. Getting time to cut the grass again. Getting long and luscious. You can see how it's good grass. So I'm sorry it hasn't been weeded. We haven't weeded. We need to. But as you can see, lots of growth. So the zucchinis are big. The squash is going. The tomatoes are getting taller. I can tie that one up. We have peppers that are coming, showing up. The peppers there. Green beans starting to flower. We should see stuff on them soon. All that companion planting. Look how loaded that is. All those squashes. Squashes. And then cowpeas. Still haven't fixed my corner. I know, guys. That project's going on. So, that's okay. Get to what you can get to. What you have to do. Same thing there. Peppers, zucchini. Going. My iris lilies, they've started to bloom on the end. I'll have to thin those out next year. And you have to work these guys up your trellis. So when it grows a little bit, I'll start going up that way. So that's about the growth. It's not bad. Just the way it is between the rains and the heat and stuff that you're doing. See, that one's starting to grow up that way. And that'll be fine. I don't think it's really, as long as I keep it low, I think I'll be fine for the tomatoes. We'll see. Lima beans. They do great on the trellises. Cucumbers. More squash, tomatoes, cucumbers. So it's just a growing. Alright, question number 1. Where exactly are you? Well, we are in northeast Mississippi and we are in growing zone 7B. So it's a perfect zone for growing in a longer season. I can start in the early spring and it really doesn't end till late fall, which is great. The downside is we are in Mississippi and we have extremely humid summers. So about July, August is pretty miserable. It's not the same heat as in the desert. So if you had anybody that's had any experience in kind of the Southwest or maybe overseas in the desert, it's not the same. This is when you go outside, your clothes stick to you and it gets super, like you feel like you are sweating as soon as you go outside because the humidity is thick and it makes your clothes wet and damp and it's hard to breathe and it's really hard to work in. So pretty much in July and August, you want to work, you wake up really early in the morning and you work, and then about 9 or 10 you have to quit and you really can't go back out and do any hard labor work till about 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. But bonus, you have so much sun that we'll be out at 9 o'clock at night and not realize it's 9 o'clock at night. So it's a good growing season. I love where we are. It's not miserable for me. I don't want, if you've watched any of my past videos, you know I don't want to move any more north than I am right now because I don't like snow and I don't like cold weather. So we get maybe about 3 weeks of really harsh, weather, and then some spots, along the winter months where it might get really cold, and we possibly will get a snow. Where I live, I get snow or snow flurries at least once or twice a year. It rarely sticks, and when it does stick, it may be 2 inches. So that's our growing zone. All right. How big is your family? Well, there are 6 of us here at the house. So it's me and my husband, and we have 4 kids, and their ages range from 12 to 8, 6, and 5. And the younger ones are fixing to roll over on their birthdays. So we have 3 that are stair steps like that. We do get a lot of help from my parents and my husband's parents. So they come in on different projects that we need help with, and then we try to share our workload, but they just have more knowledge or the equipment that we need to borrow. And so we try to trade off and go back and forth. But why do you not see my husband in videos? Well, he does not want to be on video. He is not a social person, and he really doesn't get on social media a whole lot. He doesn't post anyway, so he tries to stay out of the videos, but he is very much involved on the homestead. And it does kind of make it look like I'm the one that's doing everything. I'm not. Most of the time, he is there helping, especially on projects. He's just behind the scenes. He doesn't want to be on the videos right now, but we kind of split things up. I kind of learn about certain things and he learns about other things, and that way we work together. He knows about the vermiculture, so he's kind of in charge of the earthworms and the vermiculture and getting the soil ready. He's big into the soil. He kind of learns what everything needs, and how our soil is going to be, have more nutrients in it. And he is also in that ties in to him being involved in the orchard. So he is really into all of the trees and stuff that are in the orchard and how to take care of them and what they need. And so that's kind of his area. And then the big equipment is in his area. And then mine is the basic like annual garden, and then the layout and how it's going to go on our place and researching that, and then the putting up of the food. So I'm the one who makes sure that it gets canned and it gets frozen and right, and then pretty much meal prep and all of that. And of course, we have 4 kids, so we have to balance that in between doing this. What is a modern homesteader, and do you homestead full time? Okay. Well, first, a modern homesteader is kind of a relatively new term. I think it showed up in the early 2000s, and it's now just pretty much a term that is for families who want to homestead, have a garden, provide, be self-sufficient, but the majority of them actually still work. And both of us do work full-time jobs. Just my job, I'm in education, so I'm off for the summer. And I mentioned in other videos, I am an art teacher, so I've been home for quite a while. So this spring was kind of an experiment. I've never been home during early spring to be able to do my plantings and planting so much earlier. I kind of had to wait till I got home after work, and I had to wait till the weekends. Well, I was able to dedicate my time and effort into really pushing everything out there a lot earlier this year than I'm used to. So I've kind of used my time to my advantage and tried to grow here and focus here. And then he works full time, and he also had a part-time job, but because of the whole COVID-19 thing, he lost the part-time job, so that also allowed him more time at home. And so while we had time to accomplish these projects that we've had planned out for a while, we decided we would do that. And we happened to have some, pretty good savings that we were saving up for something else, which turned out to be a blessing back on the job issue. We thought last summer we planned on him making a career change. We thought that was possible, and it just never happened. So every time we thought it was going to happen, it ended up falling through, and that happened 3 different times. Well, turns out that was a great blessing for us, because if he had gone into that career full time during the COVID-19, he would have been let go. So all of those guys ended up coming home and not having a job for several months. So it actually ended up being a blessing in disguise. We didn't know it at the time, but now we are very thankful. And so we kind of already had savings saved up in anticipation of, we didn't know what was going to happen in the future. And we decided to use that and invest that back into our homestead and get these projects done. So those two things kind of aligned that have to do with our career, and we're not full time, but we have been able to spend more time here than normal. So that's why you're getting all these videos now, and that's why you see us doing major projects. And we're going to continue to do big projects. So definitely stay tuned, because we're already working on another one. We are finishing up one that you saw, and so it's just going to keep going as we keep working. Another question I've had is, well, I can't do that because I don't have a big area. I don't have a huge property. What do you suggest? If you notice and you watch back in the videos, a lot of what I do is right here at my house. So if you live in a neighborhood, it is completely possible for you to have a raised bed garden. You're going to see the new project, the quail cage video. That's something you can possibly do around your house, or a smaller version. And I'm going to tell you in that video why quail may be your answer and not chickens. There's several things that we do around here that you can do at your house. You can collect your own rainwater. You can start a small garden bed and have fresh salad. There's so many things that you can do in a neighborhood with a small backyard, okay? Because all these raised beds are on my patio. They're on my porch. And we are able to eat fresh food every day. Now, we may not have green beans every day, but then we may eat salad. So that's something you can do. It's possible. Another question, where do I get started? What do I do? Well, first, what I'm going to tell you to do is go fill your brain with knowledge. I want you to start reading stuff about gardening. I want you to start watching a bunch of videos. I want you to get on your social media accounts and hashtag gardening, gardening 101, gardening tips. Because you need to build your files, your mental files, and like bank up here with knowledge. And then second, you need to figure out where your growing zone is. So I mentioned that I am in 7B. Depending on where you are, and I'll try to slide a map in right here. Depending on where you are, that is what you are able, you're going to see this on seed packets, okay, or suggestions of what to grow in your area, and that is called your hardiness. So 7B lets you know how cold you're going to get. And then once you figure out, hey, I live in 7B, then you can look up what type of plants thrive in your area. You can look up your type of weather. Even though it's warm here, I cannot grow tropical plants. If I have a tropical plant, I have to bring it inside during the winter. I cannot house it outside. It will die and it won't come back. I've tried. And then I would say, don't get stuck, mentioning that, don't get stuck on the fact that you are, say, in 7B, because depending on where you are in the country at 7B, you can kind of push and sway back and forth in the other zones. That's up to you. You have to figure out what your place is where you live. Where my house is, I'm in a valley. I've learned over the years what I can kind of get away with that other people can't. And I've learned I can't get away with some stuff that other people can. So a lot of that is just time. Give yourself time. Go slow. It's okay. You're going to learn something every day, every week, every month, every year. And each one of those is going to build up. And soon you're going to forget that you even had to look that up. Like, oh man, at one time I actually had to look that up and research that and figure out what that meant, or, that kind of thing. So just get started by researching. And I want to encourage you to not get stuck on one thing that somebody's doing. If you're watching my video, you're obviously curious about what's going on, or kind of like, oh, I think that's neat. Like, I may want to do that. And I'm sure you're watching other people who are doing the same thing. They're gardening or they're homesteading. Watch them all and watch different places. So don't just watch stuff from your area. Watch stuff from around the world. Watch stuff from different places in the United States where they live in different zones, and take pieces of what they're doing and make it match your house, okay, or your homestead, your household, because everybody's different. Your family's going to be different on what they want to eat, where you're at, how much space you have. So take the ideas that you like and say, okay, I really like that idea. How can I make that work on our place? We have a small backyard. Maybe I can scale it down. Maybe I shouldn't have so many. I can, that kind of thing. Or I have a really big place. Well, I have a lot of acres. I have 20 acres. Maybe you want to start around your house and slowly work your way out. If you do, for both, if you have just a backyard, or if you do have, a couple acres of land, go during different times of the day, see how the sun is going across your property, see what different areas do what, because you may have some really sandy areas, some really dry areas because they get more sun, or you may have some overshaded areas where nothing's going to grow really well because you have too much shade. So you just have to study your property and see what happens when it rains. You need to be there when it rains really good. How's the water go through? Oh, my plants are going to drown if I put them right there. Or, hey, the water runs off of this really fast and it doesn't absorb any moisture. So those are things that you need to start doing now before you get started, is kind of study your house, your property, what you have going on in your yard, and start building that database in your mind. Write stuff down in your journal. I have some journals there on the website, so you can write them down there, and that'll get you started right now. Are you organic? And I'm going to say, I do not say I'm organic anymore. I used to a while back, but that is because, and I've stopped. And the number one reason is because if I was ever to be certified organic, it is a huge process, kind of a pain in my opinion, and you're paid to have a name. And there's so many regulations and so many things that come with being certified organic. First off, I'm not selling to the public. This is just for me. And so right now, to be certified organic would mean squat. It wouldn't mean anything. There's no reason for me to go through that certification or have it. A lot of what we do are organic practices. If you've listened to me on the videos, I don't use pesticides. I don't use herbicides. But I'm not going to say that my soil that's brought in is 100% organic, because obviously it's not. I went to the public compost, area. So you can kind of go back in our videos and see what we've done. And a lot of them are just practices that just make sense. We are headed towards a permaculture, more homestead. So we are doing things that make sense, that are reusable, that have more than one function. How long is it going to last, and all of this. And it is just not worth saying that I am 100% organic. And I'm going to say no, because for me to technically be certified that way, I would have to go through all of these steps and make sure my soil was, from 100% place that was organic, all the products I use, blah, 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 blah. And if you come to our place and you would talk to us and just through the videos, I think that you can tell that we try our best to stay as natural as possible. And I explain why we do what we do and what purpose that serves. And so, no, I'm not 100% organic, but we do keep with natural practices, and we try to do things that are practical and realistic and that work. We not have more animals, and why did you get rid of them? So if you've noticed, all you have seen so far were the meat birds and the new egg layers that we hatched, and in this video, the quail. So you've heard those. At one time, we have had everything from ducks to different egg layers, meat birds. We've had 2 pigs. Let's see, we've had rabbits. We have had guineas. I'm sure I'll think of something else that I haven't thought about. Pigeons. We had pigeons at one time. And of course, we have a lot of pets, but they're pets. And that is because when we were talking about the career change that I mentioned earlier, that was going to put me by myself a lot, and I did not want anything that was super complicated or took a lot of my time and energy when it needed to be somewhere else. So this last fall, as it became winter, we rehomed a lot of our animals. My in-laws have a good setup for birds, so a lot of our birds went up there. We gave some birds away. When things died or we processed them, we did not replace them. And so that was the mindset at first, that, okay, we were not going to be here as much, or my husband wasn't going to be here as much. And so we needed to kind of change the way that we did stuff and have it easier for me to do it. Well, now once again, that ended up being a blessing we see now, because that gave us time to think and not be so stuck on what we already had, that we could replan stuff. And that's what we have been doing. We have been replanning, okay, when we get these animals back, where are they going to go? How are we going to house them? What's going to be more convenient and easier for us? And how can we use them in more than one function? Which we were already doing with our rabbits. We were using them for manure as well as meat, and selling them. So when people wanted, that was, creating just a little extra money by selling the babes off of them. And then same thing with chickens. We would trade and get other meat. And so now we're like, okay, how can we do that in a better way that's going to be better for them, for us, and get this worked out? We do not have big livestock because we do not have fences up, and that is, we do not want to have larger livestock without being able to keep them in a fence where they don't get out into our neighbors' yards. And we want to have a great place for them to be. And it's irresponsible. I've made that mistake before. We have ended up with larger livestock because somebody gave it to us, or an opportunity showed up and I jumped on it. And we were not prepared as far as structures and fencing. And so we do not want to get into that until we know that we're 100% ready to invest the time and the money in the structures for those larger livestock. And one reason that we really are passionate about that is because we do have a neighbor that does not respect their other neighbors, and their livestock shows up all the time on everybody else's property. And it's very frustrating when you have spent time and money on a project and somebody else's animals, who they don't properly take care of, come and destroy that hard work and all that money and time that you spent into it. And so we realize that that's not okay, and we don't want to be the person that does that. So if you're going to have a homestead, make sure you're being responsible with your animals, and you're being respectful to your neighbors and everybody who's around you. This answers some of your questions that maybe you've been curious about, just especially if you've been watching several of the videos. You may have heard me mention here and there and not quite put it all together. So hopefully that'll answer some questions. If you have any questions about what you're seeing on the videos, whether you're watching it on YouTube or Facebook, just type in. You can, if you're on Facebook, you can send me a message or type it in the comments below, and I'll try my best to answer it. Most of the time, I can. And then I will try to discuss more details as we go through the videos, because some of you are like, okay, what exactly are you using, or how did you do that? Give us some more details. And I'm still trying to find that balance. I'll be truthful, because some people want short videos, some people want long videos, and I'm kind of trying my best to put both of them together. if you like really short videos and you just want information right then, go find me on TikTok. I've actually started an account. As much grief as I gave my students about TikTok, I've actually started one. I didn't ever think I would have one, but I have, because I see that it is useful to get information real quick. So you can find me there at Wildwood Wonder. I'm also on Instagram as Wildwood Wonder, and our Facebook page is Wildwood Wonder. You can go to the website, and I have to be truthful, I haven't vlogged as much on there because I feel like I'm vlogging all the time, and it's just so much easier to put a link into the video. So I may actually start doing that on the website if that's a way that you want to get in touch and see these, besides just on Facebook, if that happens to be where you are, or YouTube. So you can go to wildwoodwonder.com, and I'm going to be there. So that's all of the sites. If you could please just subscribe to this video, okay? If you can give us a thumbs up, that would be helpful, or a like on any of our social media. Follow us, and just keep it going. Every day the numbers kind of increase a little bit, and so that gives me motivation to keep going, and see what we're doing here. I think it's going to be pretty cool because we are transitioning into a permaculture homestead, and I haven't quite seen any of that. And so I think you're going to be, if that's something you're interested in, we are doing stuff that can apply to a big homestead as well as a very small. If you really want to be a modern homesteader, a lot of those are happening in neighborhoods. So if you live in a neighborhood where there's house after house after house, some of the stuff that we're doing, you can do in your backyard. So it's easy. You just have to make it where it applies to you. And so I'll start pointing those out and say, okay, this would be something good that you could do for this and that. All right. So thanks for joining me, and see you next time.